In the tiny villages of Okinawa, it's not unusual to meet a 98-year-old walking to the market with a basket full of vegetables, or a 103-year-old tending their garden with the strength and clarity of someone half their age. It almost seems unfair until you realize they're not hiding some miracle pill. What they are doing is something far more powerful, and it starts on their plate. Japanese longevity doctors, many of whom are vibrant well into their 90s, have been quietly urging their patients to eat certain everyday foods. And now, after decades of research, the data is in. These foods are linked to lower cancer rates, fewer heart attacks, and even better memory in old age. If you've ever wondered what truly healthy aging looks like, or how to start reversing the damage of a modern Western diet, you're about to find out. Because living to 100 might just be as simple as what's on your fork. In Japan, aging doesn't mean slowing down. It means evolving. The country has more than 90,000 people over the age of 100, and many of them are still active, mentally sharp, and living independently. This isn't just luck or genetics. In fact, a landmark study by the Okinawa Centenarian Study, the world's longest-running study of healthy aging, found that lifestyle choices, especially diet, were far more important than DNA. Researchers from Harvard and the Japanese Ministry of Health have spent decades examining what makes these elders so resilient, and they keep coming back to the same conclusion. Specific foods, eaten daily, act almost like internal medicine. Japanese doctors who specialize in geriatrics often practice what they preach, with many living past 90 themselves. They recommend a handful of traditional foods, not just because they're cultural, but because the science backs them up. Low inflammation, balanced hormones, strong bones, all linked to diet. So what exactly are they eating? Let's count down from number 6. 6. Natto, fermented soybeans. If you've never heard of natto, you're not alone. This traditional Japanese food rarely makes it to Western plates, mostly because of its sticky texture and strong cheese-like smell. But here's the surprising truth. It might be one of the most powerful anti-aging foods on the planet. Natto is made from fermented soybeans, and it's packed with a unique enzyme called nattokinase. Japanese researchers discovered that nattokinase has potent effects on blood clot breakdown. In fact, studies published in the Nutrition Journal show it can help reduce the risk of stroke and lower blood pressure, naturally and without side effects. But it doesn't stop there. Natto is also rich in vitamin K2, which plays a critical role in keeping calcium out of your arteries and directing it into your bones where it belongs. A 2017 study from the Journal of Bone and Mineral Metabolism found that regular natto consumption was linked to significantly lower rates of osteoporosis in elderly Japanese women. That's especially important after 60, when bones become more fragile and the risk of hip fractures skyrockets. What makes natto truly unique is that it's a living food. The fermentation process fills it with beneficial probiotics that nourish your gut, something Western medicine is only recently beginning to understand in the context of aging. A healthy gut microbiome affects everything from immune function to brain clarity to chronic inflammation, and natto helps feed those good bacteria every single day. Most Japanese elders eat it at breakfast, stirred into rice with a bit of mustard or soy sauce, and while it might take some getting used to, the health payoff is immense. Doctors who specialize in Japanese geriatric medicine often say natto is food as pharmacy, not because it's trendy, but because it works. If you've struggled with blood pressure, bone thinning, or sluggish digestion, this one food might quietly work wonders. 5. Purple sweet potatoes. Imagine a food that's sweet, satisfying, and could potentially add years to your life. That's exactly what researchers found in the Okinawan purple sweet potato, a staple in the traditional diet of Japan's longest living population. Unlike the orange varieties common in Western grocery stores, The Okinawan version is rich in a powerful group of antioxidants called anthocyanins. These are the same compounds that give blueberries their deep blue color, and they've been linked to reduced inflammation, better memory, and even cancer protection. Here's where it gets fascinating. In Okinawa, purple sweet potatoes made up nearly 70% of daily calories in the traditional diet just a few generations ago. Yet despite this high carbohydrate intake, rates of obesity, heart disease, and diabetes were some of the lowest ever recorded. Why? Because these aren't empty carbs. The sweet potato's high fiber content slows blood sugar spikes, while its dense nutrient profile supports everything from immune function to cellular repair. Multiple studies, including one from the Asia-Pacific Journal of Clinical Nutrition, found that anthocyanins from purple sweet potatoes help regulate nitric oxide in the blood. This improves circulation, relaxes blood vessels, and reduces strain on the heart. Key factors in avoiding hypertension and vascular damage as we age. The antioxidants also appear to protect the brain, with animal studies showing improvements in memory and learning after regular consumption. But perhaps most impressive is how gentle they are on the digestive system. As we age, digestion can slow, and certain foods cause bloating or discomfort. The purple sweet potato is soothing, easy to digest, and even helps support healthy gut bacteria thanks to its resistant starch content. Okinawan elders often eat them steamed or baked, sometimes even cold, allowing the resistant starch to form more fully, further boosting gut health. And the best part? These are now widely available in many health food stores or Asian markets. By adding a few servings to your weekly routine, you're not just enjoying a delicious comfort food. You're tapping into one of the most deeply studied disease-fighting plants in the longevity world. 4. Miso soup. If you've ever visited Japan or dined at a traditional Japanese restaurant, you've probably had a small bowl of miso soup served before your meal. But for many Japanese elders, miso soup isn't just an appetizer. It's a daily ritual and one of the quiet cornerstones of their health. What looks like a simple broth made from fermented soybeans actually contains a powerhouse of nutrients and gut-healing compounds. And the science behind it is surprisingly robust. Miso is made by fermenting soybeans with a special mold called koji, along with salt and sometimes rice or barley. This fermentation process breaks down the soy into a more digestible form while creating beneficial probiotics, live bacteria that feed your gut microbiome. In older adults, gut health becomes more fragile, and poor microbial balance is linked to everything from chronic inflammation to weakened immunity. Miso helps restore that balance naturally, especially when it's not boiled, preserving those live cultures. But that's just the start. Miso is also rich in isoflavones, natural plant compounds that mimic estrogen in the body. As estrogen levels drop with age, particularly after menopause, bones become more vulnerable and heart health can suffer. Isoflavones have been shown to help stabilize these shifts, offering mild hormone balancing effects without the risks of synthetic hormone therapy. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition found that women who consume miso regularly had lower rates of stroke and cardiovascular events, a major win for anyone over 60. Miso also contains vitamin K, copper, manganese, and zinc, minerals essential for maintaining strong bones and supporting the immune system. And because the soup is usually made with seaweed, tofu, and green onions, you're getting a complete balanced food in one bowl: protein, minerals, fiber, and probiotics. The real beauty of miso soup is how gentle it is, warm, soothing, and easy to digest. It's often one of the first foods given to children and the last food enjoyed by elders. And Japanese doctors often recommend it daily, especially in winter, to boost immune resilience and digestion. Just one small bowl a day can help support your gut, reduce inflammation, and offer hormone support in a natural food-based way. 3. Seaweed. It might surprise you, but one of the most common ingredients on a Japanese plate isn't fish or rice, It's seaweed. In fact, the average Japanese person eats over 4 grams of seaweed every single day. And for elders, especially those in their 80s, 90s, and even 100s, seaweed is more than just a side dish. It's a secret weapon for long life. The science on this ocean vegetable is astounding, and it may be one of the most overlooked longevity foods in the world. Seaweed, especially varieties like wakame, kombu, and nori, is packed with minerals that many seniors unknowingly lack, particularly iodine, magnesium, calcium, and iron. These nutrients support vital systems as we age: thyroid function, bone strength, red blood cell production, and even energy metabolism. The iodine content in seaweed helps regulate thyroid hormones, which in turn control everything from your body temperature to how fast you burn calories. A sluggish thyroid, common in older adults, often leads to fatigue, weight gain, and brain fog. And seaweed offers a natural way to support it. But that's just the beginning. Seaweed is also rich in fucoidan, a type of compound found in brown seaweeds that has been studied for its anti-inflammatory, antiviral, and even anti-cancer effects. In a study published in Marine Drugs, researchers found that fucoidan supported immune cell activity and reduced inflammation markers, key for staying healthy into your 70s and beyond. Then there's the fiber. Seaweed contains both soluble and insoluble fiber, which feed the gut microbiome and help regulate digestion. Two things that often decline with age. And uniquely, seaweed contains compounds that help lubricate the joints and protect cartilage. That's why many Japanese elders experience far fewer issues with arthritis or stiff joints than their Western counterparts. What's most incredible is how easy it is to incorporate. A strip of nori wrapped around rice, a sprinkle of dried wakame in soup, or even a seaweed salad once or twice a week can make a real difference. Japanese doctors frequently recommend seaweed to patients with high blood pressure, digestive complaints, or sluggish thyroids, and not as a supplement but as a food. It's yet another example of how their approach to medicine starts in the kitchen, not the pharmacy. 2. Green tea, especially matcha. In the quiet moments of a Japanese morning, you'll often find elders sipping from small porcelain cups filled with something that looks simple: green tea. But inside that warm, pale liquid is a powerful mix of antioxidants, brain-boosting compounds, and metabolism-supporting nutrients. And when it comes to longevity, few beverages have been studied more or praised more highly by Japan's oldest doctors than green tea, particularly in its most potent form, matcha. Green tea is rich in catechins, especially one called EGCG, Epigallocatechin gallate, which has been shown in numerous studies to reduce inflammation, lower LDL cholesterol, and protect against heart disease. A massive study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association followed over 40,000 Japanese adults for 11 years. Those who drank the most green tea had significantly lower risk of dying from cardiovascular disease and lived longer overall. That's not a small effect. That's a daily habit paying off in added years. But green tea's benefits extend beyond the heart. The L-theanine in green tea creates a calm alertness, sharpening focus while reducing anxiety. It's part of the reason Japanese elders often remain mentally sharp well into their later years. L-theanine promotes alpha brainwaves, the same state you enter during deep meditation, without causing drowsiness. Combine that with a light caffeine boost, and you've got a beverage that supports energy and cognition without the crash of coffee. Matcha, a powdered form of green tea made from shade-grown leaves, is even more concentrated. When you drink matcha, you're consuming the whole leaf, not just steeping it. This means far more antioxidants, chlorophyll, and fiber. Some Japanese longevity clinics recommend a daily cup of matcha in place of multivitamins. It's that nutritionally dense. Green tea also supports healthy weight management. EGCG has been shown to boost fat oxidation and improve insulin sensitivity, which becomes more important with age as metabolism slows. And because green tea helps reduce systemic inflammation, it's believed to play a role in lowering the risk of dementia and neurodegenerative diseases, something every senior wants to guard against. Most importantly, it's a habit that feels good, warm, soothing, and deeply cultural. Green tea is as much about ritual as it is about health. Japanese elders often drink it multiple times a day, and not just for the taste, but because they know, instinctively and scientifically, that it's helping them stay alive, alert, and engaged. 1. Daikon radish. It doesn't look like much. A long white root, often sliced thin or grated onto a plate. Daikon radish might be the most unassuming food in the Japanese diet. But here's the twist. This humble vegetable is one of the most powerful longevity tools Japanese elders swear by. In fact, it's found in nearly every traditional meal, served raw, pickled, simmered, or even in soups. And Japanese doctors often recommend it as a daily detoxifier, a natural way to keep the body light, the liver clean, and the digestion smooth. What makes daikon so extraordinary is its unique combination of enzymes and compounds that help the body process fat, cleanse the liver, and break down toxins. One enzyme in particular, called myrosinase, activates powerful cancer-fighting compounds when the radish is chewed or grated. This enzyme helps break down substances in the digestive tract that can become harmful over time, like excess fats, carcinogens, and environmental chemicals. But it doesn't stop at detox. Daikon is naturally high in vitamin C and potassium, making it a natural anti-inflammatory and blood pressure regulator. And because it's high in water and fiber, but low in calories, it supports healthy digestion and weight management, two issues that become more challenging as we age. Japanese elders often eat grated daikon with heavy meals because it's believed to lighten the food and reduce post-meal fatigue or bloating. This isn't just folk wisdom. It's backed by how daikon stimulates bile flow and supports the pancreas in releasing digestive enzymes. And then there's its effect on respiratory health. Traditional Japanese and Chinese medicine both regard daikon as a lung cleanser. It's often used to relieve congestion, ease chronic cough, and improve breathing, especially in older adults. This could be due to its mild diuretic effect, which helps clear excess fluids and phlegm from the body. Doctors in Japan often describe daikon as a daily maintenance food, something that keeps the internal systems running cleanly and efficiently, like changing the oil in a car. It doesn't need to be fancy. A spoonful of grated daikon with your meal, a few slices in miso soup, or even daikon pickles can deliver the benefits. It's the perfect example of the Japanese philosophy on aging. Small, consistent choices that support health quietly but powerfully over time. By now, you've probably noticed a theme. The longest living people in Japan aren't relying on miracle drugs or high-tech interventions. They're eating simple, natural foods, many of which have been part of their culture for centuries. Natto, purple sweet potatoes, miso soup, seaweed, green tea, and daikon radish might not sound revolutionary, but when eaten consistently, these foods support nearly every system in the aging body: the heart, brain, bones, gut, immune system, and even hormones. What's most striking is how accessible this approach is. There's no secret formula, no extreme diets, just real, nourishing food served daily with an emphasis on balance and variety. Japanese longevity doctors don't just recommend these ingredients because they're traditional. They recommend them because the science backs them up. Studies from institutions like Harvard, the NIH, and Japan's own Ministry of Health consistently show the same results: lower rates of chronic disease, slower cellular aging, and better quality of life. And remember, most of these foods are now available around the world. You don't need to move to Okinawa to benefit. You can start by adding one or two of these ingredients into your weekly routine, a bowl of miso soup, a cup of matcha, a few slices of daikon. Over time, those small choices add up. Because longevity isn't about one big change, it's about the quiet, powerful habits that you repeat day after day, year after year, until one day you're 100 years old, still gardening, still walking, still living fully. Comment your age and subscribe for more senior health tips.